Hello and good evening, everybody, and welcome again to our random time frame and days. We try to finish up here on Get Smart and TOS, the original Star Trek series. I'm Mikey. Of course, I'm here with my beautiful wife, Suzanne, off in the background, running the chat, and I've got both Moon Pie and Deja Vu hanging out. And I had a good stream earlier with Charlotte for a little bit with Larry. That was a great stream they had, and I rewatched it. And then I had a even more wonderful stream that I did with Brother Chance Bartels of the Nostalgic Pod Blast, along with Al's Place. And we talked to Mark Malkoff, who was a comedian, and also worked on a project called Love Johnny Carson, where he talked with over 400 people about the man, the myth, and the legend of late night TV, Mr. Johnny Carson, who unfortunately did pass away January 23rd, 2005 at the age of 79. Yeah. He's been definitely missed for a very, very long time. Excuse me. Okay. So tonight we're going to go ahead and get to the next two episodes in season 3 for both shows, so we can continue this. And like I say, hopefully I can get TOS done by the end of this year. Hopefully by the end of next month, and then try to finish up Get Smart. When that's done, well, after I tell you folks what I'm going to be doing next year, starting after January 1st, but probably not starting officially until I get into either February or March. Depends on what Suzanne and I will be doing in the next couple months, trying to get down there and get the paperwork done and all of our other stuff done. So, and then of course she has to go in for her surgery, her knee surgeries too. So there's a lot going on next year. So may not get here as often as we like. So that's why I'm just trying to get caught up, get close enough so that I can finish out the rest of these two series that I'm doing. Okay. So right now we don't have anybody yet, but I know Suzanne is watching. She's lurking. She's in the background somewhere. Okay, so first of all, as we said, well, let's take a look at Get Smart. From season 3, we are working on both shows with episode 9 and episode 10. For episode 9 of Get Smart, we're looking at Dr. Yes, which came out Saturday, November 25th, 1967. And got a 7.4 out of 10 from 203 people who have seen the episode. I like to, instead of a C plus, I'd probably like to say a B minus. So that's what I'm thinking is more of like the B minus. And Max and 99 are looking for the man that is sabotaging missile launches. Does that sound familiar? Yeah. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Dr. No. From the first Bond film. They made fun of that. I'm pretty sure that's in the trivia. Okay. And then season 3, episode 10, That Old Gang of Mine, which premiered on Saturday, December 2nd, 1967. And in that one, Max is going to London to do some undercover work. And this got a straight B for me. 7.8 out of 10 from 195 people that have seen it. Yeah, so Dr. Yes got a B minus, and That Old Gang of Mine did get a B from me. So, all right, so let's take a look at this first one. All right, in this one, director was James Comack. The writers were William Rayner and Miles Wilder. And of course, the usual cast of characters: Don Adams as 86, Barbara Feldon as 99, and Edward Platt as Chief. And let's see. The only one I see a picture on, or actually two of them. So yeah, we could do Wally Cox also. All right, so Andre Philippe, who plays Toulouse, like Toulouse-Lautrec, or somewhere I heard that before. And then Wally Cox is a TV repairman, but he goes uncredited in this episode. So yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and take a look at those two gentlemen after we get through trivia and everything else. Okay, the Chinese going in Dr. Yes's hideout appears the Chinese gong, I'm sorry, in Dr. Yes's hideout appears a few weeks later in a Chinese restaurant where Max goes to meet Dr. T. The title is a parody of the first James Bond film, Dr. No, from 1962. James Comack directed this episode, played photographer Uncle Norman on MGM's The Courtship of Eddie's Father. We knew that too. Okay, during the cold open, Max 99 and the Chief are in the control room with an American general and a German scientist during the countdown for a rocket launch, with overheard launch instructions given first in English and then in German. When 99 asks why the instructions are repeated in German, Max replies that it must be the language that America's best scientists understand. Max's reply is a laugh line, but it is also a true statement. After World War II, both the United States and the Soviet Union competed to recruit the scientists and engineers who built the deadly V-1 and V-2 rockets to use by the Nazis there in Germany towards the end of the war. America's Project Paperclip brought many of those personnel into the United States, and an actual paperclip was attached to the dossiers of those Germans with questionable, even criminal wartime records, as a veiled indication that their records needed to be sanitized in order to enter the U.S. The best known of all of them was Werner von Braun, who became a top official in the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, and is known as the father of the American lunar program that landed 12 U.S. astronauts on the moon. Von Braun had also been an officer in the Nazis' German Schutzstaffel, which of course is the SS, who was promoted 3 times during the war. A civic center in Huntsville, Alabama, location of a key NASA facility, is named for von Braun. Oh, that's a good little historical knowledge. Okay, there is a spoiler. This episode is the second time that Max has been saved from a flooding booth by cutting the glass with 99's diamond ring. The first was in the season 1 episode, All in the Mind. Okay. Now look at the goofs. Okay. And we have all of them are continuity. So the first one is Dr. Yes is dispatched when he accidentally scratches himself with his poison-tipped fingernail. However, moments before, he used the same nail to perform calculations after dipping it in ink, which would have washed away any poison. Even earlier, he used the same nail to slice an apple, which would have been poisoned in the process. After arriving in the hideout of Dr. Yes, Max and 99 were wearing wetsuits and flippers. Later, when trapped in the room to be killed, they are both wearing shoes. Although Max and 99 wear dark wetsuits when they show the footage of them underwater, they are wearing white wetsuits. The same thing goes for Himmel and Toulouse earlier. When the general starts to initiate the self-destruct sequence, he turns and moves toward the inside of the room, away from the window and the panel where the self-destruct button is hidden. Wow, interesting. Okay, no quotes. No crazy credits. Okay, of course, done at Paramount. All right. All right, so the first actor we'll look at is Andre Philippe. Okay, unfortunately, we did lose this actor who also worked on soundtrack back in 2007. He was born on November 3rd, 1927, in Bronx, New York City. He was known for Invasion of the Bee Girls in 1973, Hawaiian Eye way back in 1959, that TV series, and Harry and Tonto from 1974. He died on April 29th, 2007, in Venice, California. He was 79. Okay. In the Invasion of the Bee Girls, he played Aldo Ferrara in 73. In Hawaiian Eye TV series, he played Paul MC for 58 episodes from 59 to 1962. In Harry and Tonto in 74, he played a chess player. And he did appear in 1965 in the TV series The Man from U.N.C.L.E. as Merlin for one episode, and that was season 2, episode 4, called The Foxes and Hounds Affair, on my birth year there. And let's see. The last thing, according to information here at IMDb, he did work on The Copper Scroll of Mary Magdalene in 2004, and he voiced Jesus Christ on that. Okay. Alrighty. So that was Andre Philippe. Rest in peace. Okay, now we'll look at Mr. Wally Cox. Okay, Wally Cox, we did lose in 1973. He was not only an actor but also worked on soundtrack. He was a beloved character actor who made his mark in television and ranks as one of the medium's most memorable performers. He was nominated for 2 Primetime Emmys, and his ability to show his range likely was limited by his short stature, slight frame, and high-pitched voice, which, along with his talent for being very funny, made him ideal for comedy parts, such as his memorable turn as Professor P. Casper Biddle in the Birdwatchers episode of the Beverly Hillbillies in 1962. In 66, his television persona was that of a shy, timid man in horn-rimmed glasses. So he was born December 6, 1924, and he died February 15th, 1973, only at the age of 48. So, kind of sad. Let's see. He was in a odd TV series back in 1952 to 55, where he was in a 112 episode called Mr. Peepers, where he mostly played Mr. Robinson J. Peepers. That was the main character. And in the TV series animated Underdog, of course, he was the he was, of course, the voice of Underdog, but he also did a voice of a bank official and a train engineer, among others. He was in 119 episodes of that animated TV series from 64 to 67. In the movie State Fair, which I think features Elvis Presley, he played Hippolyte, was his name there. And then that same year, in a movie called Something's Gotta Give, which was a movie short, he was a shoe salesman there in 62. All right. According to the IMDb background, in 1973, his final performance was in a TV series called Search. And it was, he played a role of Brother Sam in one episode. And that episode was from season 1, episode 14. It was called The 24 Karat Hit. And then before that, in 73, he also was in the Night Strangler TV movie, where he plays Titus Berry in that. So, very cool. Yes, I did remember him in an episode of Odd Couple, too. So, rest in peace, Wally Cox. Okay. Okay, now we'll look at the next episode, which is called That Old Gang of Mine. And this was directed by Norman Abbott. The writers were Phil Hahn and Jack Hanrahan. And of course, it features the usual characters. And we'll look at Diane Williams, who plays Van Cleef, and Sid Haig, who plays Turk, a young Sid Haig. Cool. Yeah, I know he was in that horror series as Captain Spaulding. Yeah, so we'll go over him here. All right, Captain Jack Spaulding, actually. All right, so let's look at the trivia. Okay, there's one trivia answer here. The title comes from a popular barbershop song. Wedding bells are breaking up, that old gang of mine. Okay. All right. And let's see. We have two factual errors. One is when Max does his Winston Churchill impression for the barmaid, he ends with a famous V for victory gesture. However, he gives it with his palm facing in, which is considered an obscene gesture in the UK. The Dutchman keeps referring to Max as Herr Scar. Herr is German, not Dutch. It would be more appropriate for him to say Meneer Scar. This suggests the names of the Scorpion Gang that don't indicate actual heritage. The Pennsylvania German Amish are referred to as Pennsylvania Dutch, and they speak German. There is likely inaccuracy of El Gato also. Okay, and a revealing mistake, Max says, where I come from, we always have a little drink to celebrate the closing of a deal. He then gets a wine bottle and tries to smash it, but when he does, the bottle is opaque, revealing that it's not a real bottle, so that it doesn't shatter on Max's first try. In the next shot of it, it is real. And then with crew or equipment visible. When the Turk opens the windows, a hand can be seen pulling the window open. Okay. So that's the goofs. Okay, we already know where filming and production is done there at Paramount. And we'll take a look at the cast and crew we were going to look at here. Right, so let's look at Diane Williams and then Sid Haig. All right, Miss Diane Williams is still around today. That's great. She was born June 30th, 1943. So that does mean she just recently turned the age of 82. She portrayed Terry on the TV series Harry's Girls. This led to numerous guest appearances on The Tonight Show and other TV programs, including Get Smart, I Spy, and The Andy Griffith Show. And Diane was also a regular on the soap opera Somerset. She played Crystal Ames. Nice. Okay, so in Somerset from 1972 to 74, it says she was in 708 episodes of it as Crystal Ames. Let's see. Okay, now besides this episode where she plays that Van Cleef in That Old Gang of Mine, she does return later on in the final season, season 5, episode 6, which is called Smart, Fell on Alabama from 69, and she plays Borman in that. So this is her first of 2 episodes for the series. Okay, and I Spy with Robert Culp and Bill Cosby from 67 to 68. She played in 2 episodes of that. From season 2, episode 26, it was called Night Train to Madrid, and she played Nora in that. And in season 3, she came back and played Kathy from season 3, episode 17, which is called A Few Miles West of Nowhere. Okay, 1975, Deadly Hero. She plays Sally in that movie, and that's what I have on her. Last thing she worked on back in '75 was Deadly Hero. So she must have just recently retired after that. So Diane Williams. Really weird how she spelled that. Diahn. Interesting. All right. Sid Haig. Okay, he was not only an actor but producer. He also worked as a second unit director or an assistant director. He was recently in the movie Hanukkah in 2019. Let's see. Tall, bald, and nearly always bearded, Sid Haig provided hulking menace to many a low-budget exploitation film and high-priced action film. He was born Sidney Eddie Mosesian on July 14, 1939 in Fresno, California, a screaming ball of hair. His parents, Roxy Moradian and Haig Mosesian, an electrician, were of Armenian descent. And he was born July 14th, 1939, and died September 21st, 2019, at the age of 80. Okay, so he was in 2005, the movie called The Devil's Rejects as Captain Jack Spaulding. He returned as that was his return as Captain Spaulding. The first time he played Spaulding was in 2003 with House of a Thousand Corpses. He was Jay in the movie Kill Bill Volume 2 from 2004. And in 2015, he was Buddy in a movie called Bone Tomahawk. All right. And according to the information here on IMDb, the very last thing he either acted in or worked on was something called Abruptio from 2023. And he was the voice of Sal in that. So, yeah. All right. So that was Sid Haig. Very scary horror person from back then. All right. Okay, so that concludes the first part of our two shows, Get Smart. All right, and I think Tuesday sometime, either afternoon or evening probably. But again, as I said, you never know when I'm going to do this. And if I feel up to it, I go ahead and do it. But in episode 11, season 3, The Mild Ones, is where Max and 99 join a motorcycle gang to save a kidnapped prime minister. And then episode 12 of season 3 is called Classification Dead. That means Max must find an antidote after he is poisoned by a chaos agent. So those are actually 2 good episodes for next time. All right. Oh, wow. We just had a big explosion of the chat. So let's go take a look at the chat here. First of all, we have Sci-Fi Sifdan. Hello, Sci-Fi Sifdan. Welcome, sir. Hello there, ChattyBloggerMS. Hello, sir. Good to see you. I wanted to get through the first 2 episodes there before I got into TOS. He sure did nail it. Yeah. Dan said he was a shoe salesman. I bet he and Al Bundy got along very well. I bet they did. Kevin's Theme Park Adventures, welcome. Hey, he's waving. And he says hello to Sifdan. And hey, Sifdan. And let's see. How are you doing, Mikey? We're getting there. We're okay, Kevin. We've got crazy neighbors downstairs yelling and screaming in the stairwell. Nobody does anything around here. There's no security. Nobody gives a crap. But otherwise, as long as we stay in our apartment, we'll be safe with the cats. So, Stan says hello there to Kevin. Let's see. Kevin says I ate Costco pizza for dinner. Yeah, that's you know what? Costco pizza actually on certain days when it's fresh, it's been made fresh, actually is better than say like Peter Piper or any of those other kind of you know, pizza places. Yeah. And hello, Matt Arnold. Welcome, sir. Welcome. There's Matt. All right. Welcome, Matt. Good to see you, sir. Hello, everyone. Kevin says hello to Matt. Matt says hello to Kevin. Kevin says, I am doing good, Mikey. I'm glad you are, Kevin. I've been meaning to see your footage that you did for Disneyland. I've been trying to get to it. I'm going to try to make a point of an effort to go see it this week. To see how your videos went for that. I know it's been a while, but I've been so busy with other things going on, and so you know, a lot of other things happening. Sorry about that, but I'm glad you're doing well, all of you. I hope you're all doing well. All right, so let's get to TOS, the original Star Trek. Okay, so we are looking at the Folian Web, which is episode 9 of season 3, and that premiered Friday, November 15th, 1968. And with Captain Kirk and the derelict USS Defiant apparently lost, the Enterprise grapples with an insanity-causing plague and an attack by the Folians. And it got an 8.0 out of 10 from over 3,800 people. So I totally agree with that assessment. That was a B grade episode. It was very good. Not quite A, but it was good. All right, and then episode 10 we're looking at tonight is Plato's Stepchildren. And after Dr. McCoy helps the leader of a planet populated by people with powerful psionic abilities, they decide to force him to stay by torturing his comrades until he submits. That got a 6.5 out of 10. Yeah, it was very low C, and I really don't think it deserved a C minus from over 3,700 people, but I'll raise it to a straight C, and maybe possibly a C plus because the person every time I will look at this episode, the one person I'm always looking at is the shortest guy in the room. That's of course Alexander, played by Michael Dunn, who doesn't have any psionic abilities, but they're able to pass that along to him, and of course he almost kills Parmenter, the leader of the group there. So, yeah, very cool. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the Folian Web first. And let's see. The director, there was actually two directors that worked on this, Herb Wallerstein and then Ralph Sinensky. The writers were Judy Burns, Chet Richards, and Arthur H. Singer. And of course, the usual cast members Shatner, Nimoy, and Kelly. Dewan was there, Takai was there, Koenig was there, Nichols was there, Barrett was there. Yeah. And we already talked about Barbara Babcock. So one of the engineers was played by J.D. Jones, and he's uncredited, but I think we can go ahead and talk about him. Because I know we talked about Commander Loskine's voice was Barbara Babcock, and we've already talked about her. So, yeah, so we'll just look at Jay for this one. All right. So let's go ahead and, let's see. Yeah, so let's go ahead and take a look at the first important parts of trivia. Okay. Star Trek was nominated for an Emmy Award for the special effects in this episode. Okay, this is one of the few episodes in which all of the regular second and third season characters, Kirk, Spock, McCoy, Scott, Sulu, Uhura, Chekhov, and Chapel, appear. According to James Doohan, who played Scotty, NBC executives told him to comb his hair back for the third season. Doohan hated wearing his hair this way and stopped doing so during the filming of the Tholian Web. This was the only appearance of the Tholians in the Star Trek franchise until Future Tense in 2003, which was 35 years later. And that was from Enterprise with Scott Bakula, I believe. This episode introduced the environmental suit. These suits were created by costume designer William Ware Thies, and consisted of silver lame with a fabric helmet with screen mesh visor. Since these outfits were meant to be seen only in NTSC resolution, someone came up with the ingenious solution of making the window out of mesh. Mesh would provide the diffusion to make it seem there was something clear and solid in front of the actor's face, and reflections and recording dialogue would be no problem. The way the shows were broadcast back then, it would provide successful illusion of a solid faceplate for the most part. It was not until DVD, which achieved the highest quality of NTSC resolution, that the use of mesh became much more noticeable. And now, with high definition resolution, you can see the texture and wrinkling of the mesh quite easily. Alrighty. Okay, we do have 3 spoilers. After the Tholian Web is finished, the story of the USS Defiant continues in the prequel, In a Mirror Darkly from 2005. An effort was made by the production crew to keep continuity with the bodies in the same spaces and positions. And the approximately 24 crew members who attend Kirk's memorial service appeared to constitute the largest assemblage of Enterprise personnel in the original series. And later on in season 3, the final episode, Turnabout Intruder from 69, Kirk, in Janice Lester's body, recites the events of the Tholian Web to try to convince Spock of the mind switch. Nice. Okay, remember we don't do any goofs or quotes. And of course, you all know who did the theme, Alexander Courage, and the lady who sang the ah. Yeah, I like doing that. That's kind of cute. Lily Jean Norman. Okay. So let's see. Looking at filming and production. Yes, and of course, the film dates were from August 5th, 1968 to August 12th, 1968, and again, both in stages 31 and 32 of Paramount Studios in Hollywood, California. All right. And let's see, yeah, we decided to look at J.D. Jones. Okay, here we go. All right. J.D. Jones is an actor and stuntman, so he did stunt work as well as being an actor. It doesn't give his birth or death date, so hey, they're entitled to some privacy if they don't want to say it. So he worked on several projects in the 1960s and 1970s, including several episodes of Star Trek: The Original Series, where he was also credited as Jimmy Jones. Jones was the son of the prolific stunt performer Carl Pitti, who was grandson of the former Buffalo Bills Wild West showman Ben Pitti and brother of Carla Pitti. And well, yeah, that's all that they have on Jay. All right, so he worked, according to the IMDb background, he did work on 10 episodes of the Star Trek TV series. He appeared in, I'll just name you the episodes because you probably much all know them. Let's see. So from season 2, he was in The Apple as Ensign Mallory as Jay Jones. In Cat Spa from season 2, he was Crewman Jackson as Jimmy Jones. In Also in season 2, he was in A Piece of the Action as Mert, M-I-R-T, and then he also appeared in The Immunity Syndrome as a Science Division officer, uncredited in all of these. Well, 2 of them, but the other 2 he was, in the thing. Okay. So let's see. He was the second technician. In all of these, he was uncredited. So from season 3, he was in And the Children Shall Lead as the second technician. In Day of the Dove, he was a Klingon. Here in the Tholian Web, of course, an engineer. Next time we talk about TOS, he was in Wink of an Eye as an engineer. He was in The Mark of Gideon as Gideon, guard. And finally, he appeared in The Cloudminders as a prisoner number 2. And that was it. That was J.D. Jones. Okay, in The Man from U.N.C.L.E., he did appear in one episode from 1967. It was season 3, episode 19, and that was the Yo Ho Ho and a Bottle of Rum affair as Professor Walter Powers. And in that he appeared as J. Jones. Then in 1978, he was the Rutledge child or Rutledge child in a movie called A Wedding from 78. And then he was in the Kung Fu series with David Carradine. And he played a demon in that from season 3, episode 16. It was called One Step to Darkness. And he appeared in that as J. Jones. All right. And so far, the last thing he worked on, I guess before his retirement, was The Wedding. A Wedding from 78. Okay, cool. So that was J.D. Jones. All right. Sometimes when this thing skips, it's like, it doesn't go all the way backwards. It's supposed to go to the beginning, so usually I get moved back. Okay, so let's go to Plato's Stepchildren. But before we do, let's see here. Okay. All right, Matt Arnold. He says, I'm calling it a night. Tired? Good night, everyone. Well, good night, Mr. and brother Matt Arnold. Good night, sir. Appreciate you being here. And hello, Captain Infinity, Time Travel Police. Welcome, welcome, Captain. I know, late night for me. I'm going to be going to bed after this, I think, pretty much. But, yeah, I just, I did two big, streams earlier, and I got really tired. And then after I did the second stream, and I went to another stream, they wouldn't let me in there, so I decided to go ahead and finish up at least episodes 9 and 10 of season 3 for these shows, and then sometime next week, probably Tuesday, sometime, uh, whatever hour I come up with that time during that time frame. So, yeah, but it's good to see you, Captain. It's good to see all of you here, and we got 2 likes. Thank you so much, and we still have 2 people watching. That's awesome too. All right. So, all right, and I talked about their Plato's Stepchildren, and this was directed by David Alexander. The writers were Meyer Dolinsky and Arthur H. Singer, and along with everyone in the cast, Michael Dunn, as I said, who plays Alexander, is the one I'll take a look at. As I said, we've already looked at Barbara Babcock, but we will talk about Liam Sullivan, who plays Parman. So, yeah. All right, so let's take a look at the trivia. Okay. Network executives ordered director David Alexander to shoot a take where Kirk and Uhura did not kiss, just so it would be available. However, William Shatner crossed his eyes at the camera, making the take useless. Nichelle Nichols said this was her favorite episode due to Uhura's being allowed to do something plot crucial as opposed to her usual role as a glorified receptionist. Nichelle Nichols has said that the Star Trek production offices received more mail on this episode than any other episode in the history of the original series, and surprisingly, none of it was negative. Leonard Nimoy composed the Maiden Wine song himself. Cool. There is some dispute about whether the kiss actually occurred. According to the on screen footage, it appears that the actor's lips touched. However, both William Shatner and Nichelle Nichols claimed in Star Trek Memories that NBC exerted pressure to forbid lip contact and to use a clever camera technique to conceal the separation. Looking closely, it appears that the actor's lips are not touching. The angle only makes it look like they might be slightly touching. I gotta tell you, for me, this seems like a Mandela effect. I think they actually did kiss on screen. But then again, as I said, in certain ways of a Mandela effect, there could be something different that made it look like they were kissing, but they didn't. But I swear, the first time I saw this episode myself, um, when I got to start watching Star Trek in reruns and the syndication, I swear they did touch and they did actually kiss lips. So I don't know what that says to me, but okay. So yeah, no goose, no quotes. All right, so let's take a look at see. We'll read about I think that soundtrack. Okay, so there's actually two songs besides the theme. Um, Aristophanes and Meyer Dolinsky wrote a song called The Frog, and that was performed by Michael Dunn. And then The Maiden Wine, like it said, it was written by Leonard Nimoy and he performed it. So that was his own song. So there was like three songs in that episode. Okay. All right. Okay, and in the two stages there, 31 and 32, this was filmed from September 9th, 1968 to September 16th, 1968. Very cool. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at Michael first. There he is. Okay, and we did unfortunately lose this valued little man actor in 1973. Not only was he an actor, but he also was a writer and he worked on soundtrack. He was born Gary Neal Miller in Oklahoma. His parents were Mr. and Mrs. Fred Miller. He was born October 20th, 1934. They moved to Detroit, Michigan in 1938. Dunn was only 5 years old when he knew he'd be a dwarf, but was determined not to let it stop him or make him dependent. He graduated from Detroit's Redford High School in 1951, where he had been active in many school activities, including the student council. He died August 29th, 1973. He was only 38 years old. And I just want to see here. Okay. He was nominated for one Oscar, an Academy Award, back in 1966. He was one of the Best Actor in a Supporting Role nominees in a movie called Ship of Fools. So that's very cool. So that was Michael Dunn. All right. And in that movie, Ship of Fools, his character name was Carl Glocken. And of course, the one episode of Alexander here. Now, he also appeared in 10 episodes from 1965 to 1968 of The Wild Wild West, of course, with Robert Conrad and also Ross Martin. And Man in the Mirror from 2000. No, that can't be right. 2008? Really? Apple Joe? Man in the Mirror? That can't be right. Okay, well, I think they got something mixed up there. But maybe it was just a brief appearance of him or something. I don't know. Anyway, I'm just going to read off the names of the episodes he appears in from Wild Wild West and which season. So he appeared 4 times in season 1. He was in The Night the Wizard Shook the Earth, The Night that Terror Stalked the Town, The Night of the Whirring Death, and The Night of the Murderous Spring. Okay. In season 2, he was in The Night of the Raven, The Night of the Green Terror, The Night of the Surreal McCoy, and The Night of the Bogus Bandits. In season 3, he appeared in one episode called The Night Dr. Lovelace Died or Was Unalive. And in season 4, his final appearance, it was The Night of Miguelito's Revenge from 1968 as Dr. Miguelito Lovelace. What a great role for him. Okay, well, I wonder why he appeared in this Apple Joe thing from 2008. They must have used his facsimile in a motion picture capture or something. That's all I can think of. All right, so that was Michael Dunn. Okay. Oh, I hate when it does this. All right. All right, Michael, hold on. Let's just... All right, and finally, let's go ahead and look at the actor who played Parman in this episode. Plato's Stepchildren. What a great title for the episode. All right. Liam Sullivan was born in 1923, May 18th. He died April 19th, 1998, at the age of 74. He was schooled at Illinois College while having his first fling with the acting profession in regional theater. He then studied drama at Harvard, made his way to New York City, and first appeared on Broadway in The Constant Nymph in 1951. He later returned to the West Coast to perform in an LA stage production of Mary Stuart. By the early 1950s, he began appearing in television. His Romanesque features and precisely modulated voice ideally suited to smoothly roguish, arrogant, or cynical gents. Very cool. All right. So, besides this episode in Star Trek in 1965, before that, he appeared in one episode of The Man from U.N.C.L.E. He played the role of Calvin Farmington in season 1, episode 23, The Brain Killer Affair. Okay. And then he did appear in 2 episodes of The Twilight Zone. In 1961, from season 2, episode 25, he was in a episode called The Silence, where he played Jamie Tennyson. And then in season 3, episode 37, he played the headmaster in an episode called The Changing of the Guard. And that was in 1962. Okay. And then he did appear in 1962 in a movie called The Magic Sword, where he played Sir Branton. Okay. And finally, it says here, before he died, back in 1997, he was in a TV series called George Wallace. It was a TV miniseries, and in that, he played a reporter. So that was the mini bio of Liam Sullivan. Very cool. Alrighty. So let's take a look at our next two episodes that we have coming up in the next couple of days. So episode 11 of season 3 is Wink of an Eye. That's where these aliens that could only barely be seen by the naked eye, but they moved faster than the people on the Enterprise. That was pretty cool. And then episode 12 is the empath. That, of course, was Miri. Yeah. Well, not Miri. I know she went by another name. Let me see her. Jim. Sorry. She went by the name of Jim. We'll look at her. So, yeah, Jim. All right, cool. So that is next time. All right. And let's see. Yeah. So Matt said he was calling in a night. Good night, everyone. Good night there, Matt. Coffee for Captain Infinity. Time travel, please. There you go. Kevin says, "Hey, Captain," and he says, "Good night, Matt." And Captain says, "Kiss with probing tongues." Not necessarily, Captain. No. Like I said, my recollection when I first saw the episode was that they actually kissed, like full on, lips and whatever. But according to the Mandela effect, which I believe is in place here, they said they never touched, that it was more of just a brush of the cheek or brush of the mouth or something. So I don't think there was any probing tongues in it. But you never know. I mean, they could have done that on a separate outtake or something. Uh, Kevin's waving to Captain, and Captain says, "Greetings, Kevin Theme Park Adventures." Yeah. So I don't know. That could be something we look at there, Captain, when we start looking into Star Trek. I know it didn't involve time travel, but it's an interesting kind of study of a African American woman at that time kissing a white male man, right? And of course, this being Star Trek, they could just, throw away all sorts of boundaries and restrictions. And as I just mentioned, when they did a take where they're supposed to look like they're not kissing, but maybe close to it, that's where William Shatner as Kirk decided to cross his eyes and make a face to the camera, and it ruined the shot. So, yeah. So they moved on and did their next one. So that should be interesting. Yeah. Something to examine later on. Okay. Let me go ahead and mark this down. Cross these out so I know for next time. All right, cool. Okay, so the episodes we'll look at in a couple of days, maybe two at the least, three at the most. But what's coming up there on Get Smart TOS, and yeah, I'm gonna start heading out here real quick. But I do want to thank Captain Finity, Time Travel Police, for being here. Don't forget, he has his book, The Time Travel Police, which is a nonfiction about fiction. It's a nonfiction book about fiction and time travel. So make sure you check out his website, check out the YouTube channel, and see if you can order yourself a copy. He says it will be available and inexpensive. So we'll see. Should be a good book though, a good read. I want to thank Kevin Theme Park Adventures for being here, and Kevin's got those videos he shot of Disneyland's 70th anniversary. So make sure you go check him out. Make sure you always hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to share with everyone. And when you do hit our subscribe to our channel, make sure please that you hit the all notifications bell. And that's this little thing. If I can get out with killing things. There we go. So make sure you hit that little bell so that you can be notified of any future content, anything that goes on here at the ChattyBloggerMS channel. I also want to thank Matt Arnold, Brother Matt, for being here from Alabama. Appreciate that. Wonderful man for being here. And he helped me by saying, remember, you never know where you're here or see me next. So I appreciate him giving me that meme. And let's see, Kevin. And let's see. Sci-Fi Sif Dan. Thank you, Sci-Fi Sif Dan, for being here first in the box tonight. I appreciate you, sir. Remember, he has some crossover sci-fi information, discussion, everything he does usually every 2 weeks on the weekend, usually from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock p.m. Pacific time on Saturdays. So make sure you check out. He also does some anime. He's worked with Resolute German on some other projects as well. So make sure you check out our friend there, Sci-Fi Sivnan. Okay. And I believe that's everybody. Oh, you're very welcome, Captain. He says, thank you for the book. Shout out, Mikey. You're absolutely welcome, Captain. I hope that people get a chance to buy a copy and read it. If we can afford it, we'll buy a copy from you too, because I would love to read that book. That would be cool. Time travel. Yeah. Okay, so like I said, I've already said my remember, and don't forget, my wife always says, leave everything in God's hands. Great piece of advice. Of course, my brother Larry. Larry, I hope you enjoyed your wonderful interview with Charlotte, Night Star the Werewolf, Ancient Charlotte. Woo! Earlier yesterday. Yeah, it is almost 12 midnight. Wow. Wow, time does fly. I hope you enjoyed that, Brother Larry. And thank you, Charlotte, for doing that interview with him. Tomorrow, hopefully, she'll do an interview podcast with our friend Ezra Carter, who also works in Hollywood. So hopefully, we'll get a chance to help her co-host that show tomorrow. And let's see what else is coming up. Okay. Oh, and then, like I said, then my two shows probably this coming Thursday or Tuesday, Tuesday at the earliest, Wednesday at the latest if I skip Tuesday. So just keep an eye out. Remember, hit that notifications, okay, for everybody. Hello, Commodore Productions, Jim's Landscape LLC #1. Welcome, welcome. Hello, Jim. We're just getting ready to finish, my friend. And we do got 2 people with likes and 3 still here, so awesome. Hey, Jim. So I want to thank Jim's Landscape for coming in. He also does some Star Trek type fan films on his channel with our friend. He does a few shows that he did with our friend Sci-Fi Nation, Mr. J, there over in Michigania. So make sure you guys check that out. And he says, "Hey, Mikey, you and I are friends?" Yes, sir, we are. As far as I remember, sure, yes. Yes, we are. We still are. Yeah. I'm not sure why you're questioning, but yeah, we are. Yeah. We're okay, Jim. We're good. We're good. Okay, and let's see. Yeah, and of course, Larry, who always says, always be yourself. Don't forget that. And as the great Gene Siskel, Siskel, said, and now the aisle is closed. So. Oh, yes, great. Someone said we wasn't. Thanks, my friend. Well, you're welcome, Jim. Yeah, we made up. Remember, we made up our differences and everything. So yes, we're still friends. We are. Yeah, yeah. Whoever told you that was lying. Was lying to your face. Okay. And hi, Kevin from Jim. Cool. Okay. All right. So God bless America. God bless Canada. God bless the UK. God bless the rest of this world we live in. Remember, there is only one of it, so make sure, as stewards and guardians to our future generations, that we can try to achieve a fragile peace as well as be able to show them some of the great landscapes and landmarks and everything else in all countries and everything around the world. So let's hope and pray for that. Also, all prayers go out to everybody here in the chat I mentioned, all of our remaining subscribers who are also known to us as family members of this channel. This is being the final channel that hopefully Suzanne and I here at ChattyBloggerMS can make a successful channel in the future. So, but remember, we rely on you folks, the chatters, our brothers and sisters that care about us. You are what makes this channel go. You are the people that allow us to be able to give you the best content we can and to have you enjoy yourselves on the occasional live streams that we do. And yes, without you, we'd be nothing. So I appreciate all of you being here tonight. And Jim says, good night, my friends. Good night, Jim. Yeah. Good night, Jim. Take care of yourself, okay? You too, Captain. And you too, Kevin. And Sif Dan, everybody that was here. Take care of yourselves. And some peace from ChattyBloggerMS. And of course, on behalf of my beautiful Suzanne, myself, and our great cats, Deja Vu and Moonpie, we love you guys and gals. And take care of yourselves. And like I said, we'll probably see you either Tuesday or Wednesday later this week with our next two episodes and our next from our next season. So LLNP, thank you. Live long and prosper, Captain. You too. Let me try this. Okay, hold on. I have to usually see. Live long and prosper. There we go. I partly got it. Okay. Everyone take care. We'll see you next time on ChattyBloggerMS. And God bless.